Yeah, I was finally able to fix the resolution on my screen. Hi. Hello, Rita. So now I can actually see the top tabs of my screen, so I won't be like accidentally exiting as much, which is cool. All right, guys. So thank you guys for coming back. I just wanted to put a new title in because it is a new show, a new topic. So we're going to go over 10 of the strangest foods found in the Bible. First, we'll read a little history. So there are hundreds of passages in the Bible that describe food, drink, and dining. Many biblical stories are set within the context of a meal. While most of these are about regular meals, others refer to more bizarre, extreme, or supernatural cases of eating and drinking. Here are 10 of the most notable examples in no specific order. So, first we have gold powder. Weird. Share screen. Gold powder. When Moses sees the Israelites worshiping the golden calf, he grinds the idol into a fine powder, mixes it with water, and forces the people to drink. Find that in Exodus 32:19-10. Let's read that. Sorry, Exodus chapter 32, verses 19-20. It says, and as soon as he came near the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, Moses' anger burned hot, and he threw the tablets out of his hands and broke them at the foot of the mountain. He took the calf that they had made and burned it with fire and ground it into powder and scattered it on the water and made the people of Israel drink it. Wow. Can you guys believe that last show I did got 2 thumbs down? Like, I don't care if people thumb down my shows, but like, why? Why would you thumb down that last show about the biblical artifacts? You could tell it was just like some haters or like some Hebrew Israelites or something in there, you know? Like, all I did was talk about artifacts that were in a museum in Jerusalem. Like, why? Like I don't care if you thumb down my stuff, but like, really? Like, why would like, it's obviously just like 2 butthurt haters or something. Maybe because I talked about that one stone tablet that like depicted the early Israelites, and it's clear that they're not African. Like, they have Israeli features on them. Like, that's probably why, but I don't know. I just find it comical that, you know, out of like it got like 18 thumbs up and like only 2 thumbs down, but like, it doesn't bother me. I just find it amusing that like really, like, these people just join my shows just to thumb down and then leave. Like, they're just such jealous haters. Just because we blow their silly doctrine wide open, it's like, just because we expose their deceptive false hate doctrine, they're angry at my channel. It's like, well, I'm not going to stop. So you can try all you want, but, you know, same reason Melvin was like threatening to report me for no reason, because he's butthurt. Like, go ahead, dude. If you're gonna like report, if you guys are gonna teach garbage and baloney and deceptive stuff, I'm gonna expose it until the day I die. And if it costs me every subscriber I have, I don't care. That's just the way it is, man. I stick up for the truth. I stick up for the word. And from what I've seen, there's no truth in that. No truth. I've been doing it for months now, and I have not seen any truth in the Black Hebrew Israelite movement at all. It's all deception, rabbit holes, hate, racism. Like, there is no truth in it whatsoever. It's such deception, like such deception. It makes me sick. But anyway, that's not what this show's about. This show is about the 10 most bizarre foods that were found in biblical times. So thank you guys for being here tonight. Like I said, we talked about the gold powder that Moses made them drink. The next one we're going to talk about is the scroll of Lamentations. So God gives Ezekiel a two-sided scroll of Lamentations to eat. Yummy. Ezekiel fills his stomach and finds the scroll to be as sweet as honey. Huh. Let's read that. Ezekiel 2, verses 8 to... It's weird, but okay. Let's put that in there. So it says, "But you, son of man, hear what I say to you, but not rebellious like the rebellious house. Open your mouth and eat what I give you." And when I looked, behold, a hand was stretched out to me, and behold, a scroll of a book was in it. And he spread it before me, and it had writing on the front and on the back. And there were written on it words of lamentation and mourning and woe. And he said to me, "Son of man, eat whatever you find here. Eat this scroll and go speak to the house of Israel." So I opened my mouth, and he gave me this scroll to eat. And he said to me, "Son of man, feed your belly with this scroll that I give you, and fill your stomach with it." Then I ate it, and it was in my mouth as sweet as honey. Well, that's cool. What do you know? No, baby doll. I did not know that Israel and Jerusalem are at war this very moment. What does that even mean? You're telling me that Jerusalem, which is, I don't know if it's the capital. I think Tel Aviv is maybe the capital, but how is Jerusalem at war with Israel? What are you talking about? Yeah, Jerusalem is the capital city of Israel. So how is the capital city of Israel at war with its country? That doesn't even make sense. No, that's incorrect. What you're saying is incorrect. Okay, I'll go to the link. What link? I don't see a link anywhere. You just said at Bloomberg. Well, I don't know what you're watching, but I Googled it and nothing came up. There's Israeli-Palestinian conflict. There's where is it? Top stories. There's clashes on the Gaza border as Ramadan violence flares in Jerusalem. Israeli and Palestinians clash around Jerusalem's old city, but that doesn't mean Israel is at war with Jerusalem, dude. There's always battles going on. Like, that's been happening forever. The Israelis and the Palestinians are always fighting in Jerusalem. That's been happening forever. That doesn't mean Israel is at war with its own capital city. Like, what does that even mean, dude? I don't know what you're watching, but you're misinterpreting it, dude. The country of Israel is not at war with its own capital city. There may be Palestinians battling and fighting in Jerusalem, which has been happening all the time. Bro, you said you provided a link, so just show me the link. I'll check it out. What link? You just said at Bloomberg. Bro, I'm telling you right now, if you want to think that the Israel is at war with its own capital city, you can go ahead and think that. But okay, well, you're a lady. You're wrong. there, miss. Sorry. Where's the link? I don't see it anywhere. Do you guys anywhere in the chat see the link? Because I don't. Anyway, I don't have time to entertain this kind of stuff. Let me get back to my show. Bloomberg, again, 2 days ago, Israeli police arrest dozens in night of chaos in Jerusalem. Yeah, so what? What does that mean? Israeli police said 44 people were arrested and 20 officers were wounded in the night chaos in Jerusalem, where security forces clashed with Palestinians, angry about Ramadan. This is nothing new, bro. Or sorry, you're not a bro. This doesn't mean that the country of Israel is at war with its own capital city. So I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, well, you come on here and spread your nonsense. It's garbage, dude. Show us a link. Give me some proof. You come in here and you're trying to say that Israel is at war with its own capital city. You came in here and said Israel is at war with Jerusalem. That's what you said. And then you said you sent a link, which you didn't. So, I mean, what's the deal? Iraq sent missiles to Israel. Again, nothing new. You ever hear of the Iron Dome? They have that for a reason. They get missiles shot at them all the time from all those Arab countries. This is nothing new, baby doll. The country of Israel is not at war with its own capital city. Does anybody else in the chat see her link? Because I don't see the link anywhere. I'm on Bloomberg.com right now, and there's nothing at all about Israel being at war with its own capital city. That's nonsense, like absolute nonsense. It's talking about Palestinians being angry about Ramadan restrictions and Jewish extremists who held an anti-Arab march. This kind of stuff happens like almost every day in Israel. Like, this doesn't mean that Israel is at war with its own capital city. Like, come on. It's nonsense. Like, absolute nonsense. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my show. I don't have time to listen to this. You accept my apology? I am a Christian. Well, I never apologized to you. How about you apologize for your lies, bearing false witness, and then we can move on. You come in here and say that Israel is at war with its own capital city, and I sent a link, but there's no link in the chat. No one else in the chat can see your link. And then you say that you'll accept my apology? Really? Why don't you apologize first? You're coming in here like spreading nonsense. It's actual nonsense. That's a very appropriate picture you have of yourself there. A clown. Tension in Jerusalem triggers Gaza-Israel fire exchange. That doesn't mean that Israel is at war with Jerusalem, dude. Or sorry, you're not a dude. I don't know why I keep saying dude, but tension in Jerusalem triggers Gaza-Israel fire exchange. How do you think that means that Israel is at war with its own capital city? Gaza and Israel have been exchanging fire since like the beginning of time. Oh, well, sorry. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was a flower. I'm not being dumb. You're the only one that sounds dumb right now. You just came into my room and said, did anybody else in here see this person's link? Anybody? Anybody in the chat see her link? Because we can scroll up all day. And if you said you sent a link, just send it again. I seen you send something that said, Israel is at war with Jerusalem. And then you said at Bloomberg.com. But there was no link. I even went to Bloomberg and looked, and there was no such story about Israel being at war with its own capital city. Like what you're talking about right now is nothing new. Gaza and Israel have been fighting. The Palestinians have been clashing with Jerusalem and Israel like since the beginning of time. This is nothing new. There's no link in here. Okay, well, I appreciate that you come in here all the time, but I mean, that doesn't change the fact that you never sent a link, and it also doesn't change the fact that Israel is not at war with Jerusalem right now. Yeah, you can post link in the chat. I bragged about all the stuff that I do for him. What did I brag about doing for Melvin? Melvin is such a... Oh, I don't even want to talk about Melvin. Anyway, I don't got time for this, so I'm going to get back to my show. It's time for you to go in the corner. It's time for her to be timed out and put in the corner. We don't have time for your nonsense. Israel is at war with Jerusalem right now. And then she goes on to say, I'll accept your apology and blah, 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 blah. Like, are you kidding me? Like, wow, man, these people come from like all corners of the earth, don't they? Go off on you? Wow, I'm not going off on you. I have a real problem when people come into my shows, interrupt my shows, and spread their false news nonsense. Like, you came into my live show and said, Israel is at war with Jerusalem right now. Here's a link. And you didn't send any link. And then it's like, dude, yeah, Israel is not at war with its own capital city. Just be like... it's complete nonsense. So you can think what you want, but you've been timed out and you've been put in the corner. So I'm going to get back to the show. Anyway. So the scroll of Lamentations, guys, we went over. The next food in the Bible that was strange was bread and excrement. That's really weird. So... God tells Ezekiel to eat bread baked upon human excrement, but Ezekiel gets away with bread baked upon animal excrement. Unlike the scroll, we aren't told how it tastes. Yeah, I bet. That's really gross. I didn't know that. Let's check that out. Ezekiel chapter 4, verses 10 to 17. Hi, guys. How you doing? And yeah, just because that lady's like, she's like Gaza and Israel are exchanging rocket fire, she thinks that means that Israel is at war with its own capital city of Jerusalem. Gaza and Israel have been exchanging rocket fire like since the beginning of time. That doesn't mean that Israel is at war with its own capital city. Like, I don't understand the way some people's minds work. Like, really, it's strange. But I want to hear about this bread and excrement thing. Ezekiel chapter 4, verses 10 to 17. And your food that you eat shall be by weight 20 shekels a day. From day to day you shall eat it. And water you shall drink by measure, the 6th part of a hin. From day to day you shall drink. And you shall eat it as a barley cake, baking it in their sight on human dung. Gross. And the Lord says, thus shall the people of Israel eat their bread unclean among the nations where I will drive them. Then I said, Ah, Lord God, behold, I have never defiled myself. From my youth up until now, I have never eaten what died of itself or was torn by beasts, nor has tainted meat come into my mouth. Then he said to me, See, I assign to you cow's dung instead of human dung, on which you may prepare your bread. Moreover, he said to me, Son of man, behold, I will break the supply of bread in Jerusalem. They shall eat bread by weight with anxiety, and they shall drink water by measure in dismay. I will do this that they may lack bread and water, and look upon one another in dismay and rot away because of their punishment. That's really gross. Wouldn't that be gross? Yeah, if that clown comes back in here, guys, just time her out again. Like, I don't need people coming in here spreading fake news nonsense. Like, you watch the show all the time, that's cool. But I mean, to come in here and say that, did you know that Israel is at war with Jerusalem right now? And then say you sent a link, which you didn't send a link, and it's like, and then she's like saying, I thought you were a Christian, and I was even here when you were bragging about all the stuff you did for Melvin. Like, bragging about what I did for Melvin. When have I ever bragged about what I did for Melvin? All Melvin ever did was badmouth me and try and make me look like a. Melvin called me a Freemason. Like, Melvin is so toxic and poisonous. I bragged about what I did for Melvin? Really? Like, I don't remember ever bragging about doing anything for Melvin. I remember saying that I referred to him as a friend many times, but I never bragged about doing stuff for him. Like, that's weird. Like I said, guys, remember I said last time, the last show we did got like 2 thumbs down for some reason. It's just people come in, they're haters. They just like, they hate me. They're, for some reason, it's like, I don't know what it is. Maybe people don't like the truth. They hate the truth. They hate being exposed. I don't know, but it's just the way it is, man. It comes all people on this channel. Just, it seems to draw like the strangest people. It's really, really weird how religion in general seems to draw out all the nutbags in the world. And it's always been something that I've always wondered, like, why are so many nutbags attracted to Christianity? And it's like, the only way I can wrap my head around it is like, you know how they said Jesus came for the sick and the needy, and just like, if you're not sick, you don't need a doctor. That's really the only way that I can wrap my head around it. I'm not saying that, like, there's a lot of really good people that are Christians. Like, you guys are great. There's a lot of really great, amazing religious Christians and stuff. But you guys got to admit, like, there are so many crazy nutbag people that call themselves Christians and think they're so much better than you and holier than you and humbler than thou and like a better Christian than you. And like, it's like, wow, I've never seen so many just angry, ignorant, rude people in my life than on Christian channels. Like, I hate to admit it, but it's the truth. And like I said, the only way that I can wrap my head around it is the fact that Jesus came for the needy and the sick. You know what I mean? And me as a human, I guess I'm not Jesus, so I don't have that full understanding or that compassion like I should for these people. But it's so hard to have compassion for people that are basically spitting in your face when you're just trying to read out the truth. You know what I mean? It's hard. I'll be right back, guys. I'm just going to grab a quick drink. Oh, and by the way, guys, you don't have to block her, but just if she starts going off all crazy, just time her out again. Don't like permanently block her or anything. Baby doll, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. I don't know what question were you trying to ask. Where I'm trying to do a show about strange foods in the Bible, and you came in here saying that Israel was at war with its own capital city, and like you started spewing all this nonsense and like interrupting my show. So, I mean, what's the question that you want to ask? I'll pause the show for a second and yeah, like Clay says, there's been like 5,000 years of war with Gaza and Israel, and maybe you're misinterpreting it in your mind because Gaza and Palestinians and Jewish extremists are fighting in the city of Jerusalem right now and being arrested. That by no means that Israel, the country of Israel, is at war with its own capital city. Like I think you're misunderstanding is all. But I'll pause my show here and stop talking about the foods for a second, and I'll let you ask your question. I didn't see you come in here and ask a question. I seen you come in here and say Israel and Jerusalem are at war right now, and you said here's a link. I don't really remember you asking a question, but I'll wait a sec if you have a question. Do you have a question, baby doll? And that's a beautiful flower. I didn't know it was a flower. I'm sorry. It kind of looked like a clown's wig, but now that you say it's a flower, it's actually a really pretty flower. It's really colorful. Oh, you put her on timeout again? All right. Well, sorry, baby doll. That wasn't me this time that timed you out, but next time you come back in, if you're still around and you have a question to ask, we'll let you ask your question, okay? Yeah, maybe, Andrew. I think it's like it says in the Bible where Jesus came for the sick and the needy. Maybe that's why there's so many crazy people that are attracted to Christianity because like they need help, right? I'm not saying baby doll if you're watching, I'm not saying you're crazy or anything, but I'm just talking about other people. Like we get a lot of crazy people that come in here and say like it seems to attract all sorts of people. This religious stuff, you know, it attracts a lot of good people too. Don't get me wrong, but anyway, don't time her out again if she comes back, guys. If she has an actual question, let's let her ask her question, and we'll get back to this next food thing. That was really weird. Hey, the bread and excrement. I didn't know that. That's really gross. Like I didn't know that at all. So the next one is manna, which I did know. The manna. So the Israelites survived for 40 years in the desert on daily provisions of manna. We find that in Exodus 16:35, which we'll read in a sec. The name manna reportedly comes from the question the Israelites asked, manha. What is it? Exodus 16:15. Although some commentators prefer a naturalistic answer to this question, example, manna is the gum resin of desert shrubs. The biblical text presents the manna as a miracle food. It falls 6 days a week, but not on the Sabbath. Disintegrates when it is stored, when it is stored, and stops falling when the Israelites enter the land of Canaan. That's cool. Manna is even called the grain of heaven, the bread of heaven, or the bread of angels in a number of Hebrew Bible, New Testament, and apocryphal texts. Wow. So let's read Exodus 16:35. That's cool, hey? God just drops food down from heaven for them. So it says, the people of Israel ate the manna for 40 years till they came to a habitable land. They ate the manna till they came to the border of the land of Canaan. That would kind of suck eating the same food for 40 years every day. I mean, Even like the best food ever, if you eat it every day for 40 years, you'd get kind of sick of it. Yeah, Clay, you don't remember that when Melvin was like calling me a Freemason? He like found, he went on Facebook and he found someone with my name, with the same name as me, and like seen some like kid in America who graduated from Harvard and had like a Freemason apron on. And he was like telling people, like, see, I told you Nick was a Freemason. And like, that's how he has all these subscribers. And like really? Like, really, dude? The kid looked nothing like me at all. It was like some 110-pound kid. I'm 290 pounds, dude. Like, and the kid was like wearing glasses. And like, I live in Canada. Like, he's so crazy. Melvin is so crazy. I had to block him from the channel because for like no reason he like threatened to report me for nothing. One day we were like doing a show. You guys remember that show? I was that show where I showed in the Bible that the Bible calls Jesus God, the Bible calls the Holy Spirit God, and the Bible calls the Father God in three different places all throughout the Bible. And Melvin just like blew up. And like I got an email from him in big capital letters saying, "Get off my channel right now or I'm reporting you." And I was like, what? It's like, first of all, dude, if you have a channel on YouTube, it's open to the public. Anybody can go on it. Your videos are public. They're not private. And I told him, second of all, I'm not on your channel. I never go on your channel. I don't know if any of you guys have been to Melvin's channel, but it's like so crazy, dude. He puts videos up like every 8 minutes of him riding around on his bike, like filming street lights and going like, look it, doesn't that look like the moon? Look it, there's two moons, and like Nick's a Freemason, and like it's literally the most whacked out thing like ever. So I even emailed Melvin back and I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, he like thought I was like on his channel, like snooping around, like, which I wasn't. So I emailed him back and I'm like, what are you even talking about? And I never got an answer back from him, but I was like, okay, like if that's the way you want it. So I just blocked him and it's been like weeks and I just left it alone. Just like it says in the Bible to try a couple times and then move on. So it's like, I'm sorry, dude, I can't handle it anymore. He got his mom to come on my channel a couple times, and like, who does that? Like, I felt so bad for his mom. I had to even block his mom, and I'm like, I can't deal with this anymore. I've never been anything like, but I've never been like at times I haven't been like super nice to Mom, but that's only when he's been like really crazy and like calling me a Freemason or actually calling us dogs and swine and like saying he's the prophet here to teach us dogs and swine and we don't listen and he's the true Hebrew. And it's like, whoa, settle down, dude. Like, so I just couldn't deal with it anymore, guys. That's the reason why he's not here. And he doesn't want to be here anymore. He threatened to report me for no reason, which he couldn't. I told him, I'm like, go ahead and make a false report if you want. I'm sure lots of Black Hebrew Israelites have already done it to my channel many a times, but YouTube knows when people are, making false reports and stuff. Like, so anyway, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So the manna, let's see, the next food is there. Okay, she's back. Don't block her now. Okay, sorry. Like I said, it wasn't me that timed you out last time, baby doll. It was Rita. She didn't mean to. So I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, but you got to admit, you didn't come in and ask a question. You came into the show and you said, did you know that Israel is at war with Jerusalem right now? That's what you said. You didn't come in here and like ask a question. And all I said is no. I said, why would Israel be at war with its own capital city? That doesn't make sense. So, I mean, we can move on from it. It's all good. But just to let you know that kind of stuff has been happening in Israel and Jerusalem like since the beginning of time. Gaza and the Palestinians have been clashing with Israel, firing rockets since the beginning of time. Jewish extremists, especially because it was Ramadan a couple days ago, baby doll, the Islamic holiday of Ramadan. And I know, I feel bad. I didn't know that. It's actually a beautiful flower. It's very colorful. That's why I thought it was a clown's wig, because it's so colorful. It doesn't even look like a real flower. So now that you say it's a flower, it's a very beautiful flower. Actually, it doesn't even look real. It's so colorful. Yeah. So anyway, baby doll. I'm not an expert, but I mean, I do know that Gaza and the Palestinians, they've been clashing with Israel for like 5,000 years. It's nothing new. People get arrested. There's fights going on all the time. Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, right? So the city, the country of Israel is definitely not at war with its own capital city. There's just a lot of fighting going on. It was Ramadan, the Islamic holiday, a couple of days ago there, and that always spreads tension between Muslims and Jewish extremists and stuff like that. Yeah, it's crazy, especially in Israel, because in Jerusalem, that's where they have the Temple Mount and the Dome of the Rock, which when the Muslims conquered Israel in like the year 700 or something. I don't know the exact year. They actually built this Muslim temple, like right of this Muslim Dome of the Rock, right over the Temple Mount. So there's always fighting going on. It's the most valuable piece of real estate in the world. It's like one of the most holiest sites to Jews, Christians, and Muslims. So every year, especially around Ramadan, there's lots of fighting and clashing and like all kinds of stuff happening in there. But anyway, it's cool. We can move on from this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean any disrespect to your brother. I didn't know that was a flower. I just lost a friend, actually, not a brother, but I just lost a friend too a week ago. I've lost so many people from fentanyl overdoses. It's so crazy, man. It seems like every week people are dying from this garbage. It's disgusting. All right, cool, guys. So let's go to the next food item now. Animal fodder for a king. In accordance with Daniel's prophecy, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and also, baby doll. Sorry, I'm learning in my faith too. You know, I'm not like an expert Christian either. I'm not by any means like I'm pretty new to the faith myself. Like I've called myself a Christian for many years, but haven't been living the life for very long. Like it's only been like a year maybe since I quit selling drugs and like quit living the gangster wannabe lifestyle. And like, I've only been living the actual, been trying to live a Christian life for just over a year. I've called myself a Christian for longer than that, but I've been like a lukewarm Christian my whole life. So we're all kind of growing and learning here. Animal fodder for a king. In accordance with Daniel's prophecy, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, lives in the wilderness for 7 years, eating grass like an ox. Ooh, yummy. A similar story appears in Second Esdras, where Esdras sustains himself on a diet of flowers for 7 days. Interestingly, a number of scholars suggest that the story of Nebuchadnezzar is actually based on Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, who spent a decade of his life at an oasis in the Arabian wilderness. Huh. That's kind of cool. 40-day superfoods. An angel gives Elijah a cake and some water, and it is enough to sustain him for a 40-day journey from Beersheba to Mount Horeb in Sinai, where he encounters God in a cave. That's cool. Let's read that story. 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 3 to 9. And also, I'm sorry, baby doll. I'm kind of like really defensive because I get attacked so much, right? So I didn't mean to come off on you so quick. It's just dealing with all the Hebrew Israelites and all the crazy people. It's like you should see how many like I literally get like so much hate mail like every day. Like I get attacked like so much. So like I sometimes I overreact and I got to learn how to calm down a bit. All right. So First Kings When he was afraid, and he arose and ran for his life and came to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a broom tree. And he asked that he might die, saying, It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am no better than my fathers. And he lay down and slept under a broom tree. And behold, an angel touched him and said to him, Arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was at his head a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water. And he ate, and he drank, and lay down again. And the angel of the Lord came again a second time and touched him and said, Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you. And he arose and ate and drank, and went in the strength of that food for 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mountain of God. The Lord speaks to Elijah. There he came to a cave and lodged in it. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said to him, What are you doing here, Elijah? And we could keep reading, but that's kind of cool. I'd rather eat cake than grass. Hey? Eating grass for like however long, that would suck. All right, guys. So next we have the fantastic fruits of Eden. There were 2 supernatural trees in the Garden of Eden, each with its own fruit. The tree of knowledge, which we know about, bestowed a divine knowledge of good and bad, making one like the gods. The tree of life granted immortality. Wow. Imagine that. That would be so tempting to eat from, the tree of life. Just eat this fruit and you're like immortal. Garden of Eden, eh? Genesis 3:22. The tree of life granted immortality. Let's read about that. I mean, I guess you wouldn't want to be immortal because then you wouldn't get to go to heaven. But it's just so painful losing people, like not knowing, you know? Like my dad passed away not long ago, and my animals die, and it's just like I just wish I could talk to these people that are dead, you know? It's just the not knowing is so it's so painful sometimes, you know? So Genesis 3:22. Then the Lord God said, Behold, the man has become like one of us in knowing good and evil. Now lets he reach out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Wow. The tree of life. Why did the angels chop the tree down? I don't know, Andrew. I don't know. I don't remember them chopping down the tree, but if they did, I don't know why they did. Maybe it was so that very reason why so people couldn't eat from it anymore. I don't know. So next is called food from nowhere. A number of biblical figures are saved from thirst and starvation in the barrenness of the desert. For example, Hagar and Ishmael are shown a hidden well by God in Genesis 21. Moses finds water in a desert rock in Numbers 20:11, and Elijah is given bread and meat twice a day by ravens in the desert in 1 Kings chapter 17. Human flesh. What? Cannibalism on account of hunger is perhaps the most extreme punishment in the Hebrew Bible. It is at times described in vivid detail. Example, in the threat of Deuteronomy 28 that fathers and mothers will eat their own children in secrecy so that they do not have to share the meat. Deuteronomy 28. Yeah, that's crazy. Those are the curses. Let's read that. So it says, and you shall eat the fruit of your womb, the flesh of your sons and daughters, whom the Lord your God has given you, in the siege and in the distress which your enemies shall distress you. The man who is the most tender and refined among you will begrudged food to his brother, to his wife he embraces, and to the last of the children whom he has left, so that he will not give to any of them any of the flesh of his children whom he is eating, because he has nothing else left. In the siege and in the distress with which your enemy shall distress you in all your towns, the most tender and refined woman among you, who would not venture to set the sole of her foot on the ground because she is so delicate and tender, will begrudge to the husband she embraces, to her son and to her daughter, her afterbirth that comes out from between her feet and her children whom she bears, because lacking everything she will eat them secretly in the siege and in the distress with which your enemy shall distress you in your towns. Wow. That's some messed up stuff. Oh yeah, Melvin's whack. Go to his channel. It's just his name, Melvin McCollin or whatever. His channel is really crazy. I don't want to say bad things. He's not around right now. I don't like talking about people when they're not around, but all I'm going to say is go to his, if you want to see, go to his channel. You'll see what he's really like. Like, yeah, he's definitely, hey, what's up, D-Tech? He's got mental problems, I think, and I'm not meaning that in a bad way. I truly think he's mentally disturbed a little bit. So if you go to his channel, you'll find out what I mean. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just it is what it is. Like, I think he has like something wrong with his mind. But yeah, that Deuteronomy thing, eating your own kids, that's messed up. That's so horrible, eh? Wow. These are the plagues, right? That's why the Black Hebrew Israelites can never answer that. Like, they use the other parts of Deuteronomy to say that they are the true people of Israel, but it's like, what? So then you're saying that you ate your own children too? They're like, oh. It's like, well, what? If you're the true Israelites, then that happened to you, right? Okay, the next one is free refills. That's cool. There are a number of stories about the miracles performed by the prophet Elijah and Elisha. According to the book of Kings, a hungry woman's jar of flour and a jug of oil refilled themselves until a famine subsided. 1 Kings chapter 17, verses 10 to 16. A poor woman's single jug of oil was able to fill the many vessels of her neighbors. And 2 Kings chapter 4, 1 to 7. And a man's 20 loaves of bread were miraculously able to feed 100 hungry men with some left over. Cool. A similar story appears in John 6, where Jesus feeds 5,000 men with 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. Again, there's still food left over. Yep. Let's go there. Let's read that. John 6. Jesus feeds the 5,000. After this, Jesus went away to the other side of the Sea of Galilee. Here, I'll show. After this, Jesus went away to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. And a large crowd was following him because they saw the signs that he was doing on the sick. Jesus went up on the mountain, and there he sat down with his disciples. Now the Passover, the feast of the Jews, was at hand. Lifting up his eyes then, and seeing that a large crowd was coming toward him, Jesus said to Philip, "Where are we to buy bread so that these people may eat?" He said this to test him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 denarii worth of bread would not be enough for each of them to eat a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There is a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what are they for so many?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down, about 5,000 in number. It's a lot of people. Jesus then took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated. So also the fish, as much as they wanted. And when they had eaten their fill, he told his disciples, "Gather up the leftover fragments that had nothing that nothing may be lost." So they gathered them up and filled 12 baskets with fragments from the 5 barley loaves left by those who had eaten. When the people saw the sign that he had done, they said, "This is indeed the prophet who is to come into the world." Perceiving then that they were about to come to take him by force to make him king, Jesus withdrew again to the mountain by himself. That's amazing. Amen. Hallelujah. Eh? Well, that's a cool dream, baby doll. Seek and you shall find what you seek. Well, hallelujah. You should be seeking. Read the Bible and seek. Ugh. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. Sorry, baby doll, about our little scruffle we had at the beginning. I'm glad that we made everything right. I'm really sorry about your brother. Thank you guys for coming to the show. Again, we're all learning all the time. I'm not claiming to be like some kind of teacher. I never really claimed to teach the Bible or be any kind of teacher at all. I just kind of study it myself, and I just like you guys to follow along with me. I actually learn a lot from other people. Like, everyone teaches me a lot. J-Man's taught me a lot. D-Tech, a lot of these people. Pastor Craig, Sepp. I learn a lot from everybody. So, yeah, thanks, Rita. I'll try. So thank you, everyone, for coming. I love you guys. I really do. God bless you guys. Stay faithful. And it's, everything's good. So thank you so much for coming, guys. And I'm going to do a show with James Snap pretty soon he wants to do a show about the woman caught in adultery. You guys all know the story where they're about to stone the woman caught in adultery. Well, there's a lot of people that say that that's a later addition to the Bible. It was never actually in the original manuscripts. There's a lot of people that say you won't find that story till anywhere in any manuscripts till after the 12th century. And after I heard that, thank you, baby doll. After I heard that, I was pretty upset because that was like one of my favorite stories from the Bible, where they're about to stone the woman caught in adultery, and he says, let he is without sin cast the first stone. But James Snap, actually, he thinks that it's a true story, and he has a lot of manuscript evidence to back it up. So I'm going to make a show with him about that soon. I think he wanted to set it up sometime soon. Like, I'll let you guys know. I'll set it up, and yeah, I'd love to see you guys there. So you guys have a great night. God bless you all, and I will see you guys at the next show. Oh, I just put out a new End Times video too, so if you haven't watched it yet, go check it out. God bless you guys. See you next time.